Good afternoon, welcome to Teleislas News, the most relevant and important information of the day. Units of the Colombian Navy confiscate cocaine valued at over $31 million.
Units of the Colombian Navy linked to the specific command of San Andres and Old Providence confiscated 946 kilograms, which were being transported aboard a go-fast type motor vessel in waters close to the island of San Andres. The suspicious vessel named Number 7, which was bound for Central America, was detected late at night thanks to the capabilities of the Maritime Traffic Control Station and the operational synergy between Coast Guard and Naval Aviation units, which were deployed in the Caribbean Sea for the development of this operation.
The Caribbean Naval Force managed to confiscate 946 kilograms of cocaine hydrochloride in the waters of the islands. The station in an aircraft made the maritime intervention of this shipment.
In addition, the Navy reported that the boat with the illegal cargo, upon noticing the presence of the authorities, the subjects threw the stash into the sea to obstruct the advance of the maritime units and attempted to flee. But thanks to the high level of training of the Colombian Marines, they were captured. The boat was immobilized and the 40 packages containing the narcotics were recovered. The vessel was then transported together with the subjects and the material to the main dock of the San Andres Coast Guard Station for a detailed inspection of the vessel. The 4 captured individuals, the immobilized vessel, and the communication equipment were handed over to the competent authorities. It should be noted that the narcotics would be valued at more than $31 million in the international illegal market.
And after confiscating a few weeks ago machinery that was being used in works being carried out in the south of the island, Coraline lifted the measure.
Coraline Environmental Corporation proceeded to conditionally lift the preventive measure imposed on the contractor. The above does not exonerate the contractor from strictly complying with environmental regulations and without prejudice to the continuation of the administrative environmental sanctioning procedure advanced by the corporation in accordance with the provisions of Law 1333 of 2009.
La entrega de la máquina retroexcavadora.
The delivery of the scraping machine is carried out within the framework of the partial lifting of the preventive measure imposed on the consortium, taking into account the need for the collective benefit of the company and the completion of the repair work of the road network in the sector. Similarly, the completion of the climate change mitigation works are being developed in the sector should be ensured.
The contractor would be authorized to carry out sand extraction activities and its storage inside big bag for its subsequent return once the work is finished, and the transit of machinery on the beach of the intervened sector, strictly observing the recommendations and requirements made by the Environmental Corporation within the feasibility process, which will be continuously monitored. Compliance with the obligations and recommendations made by the Environmental Authority is guaranteed through the execution of a Commitment Act, with the understanding that this prerogative may be revoked at any time if non-compliance is detected on the part of the executor of the work.
From very early in the morning, the departmental government carries out an inspection visit to the works where the progress of the Orange Hill project is evidenced.
In the morning hours, Governor Everett Hawkins and members of his cabinet made a visit and inspection of works at the Cultural Center of the North End, where he visited the facilities. The governor of the islanders later moved to the sector of Four Corner, where he visited the construction of housing donated for the relocation of the community of San Luis. Hawkins Green has in the schedule to visit the roads where work is currently underway as the Orange Hill Road, which began paving work yesterday, complying with the project plan of improvement and refurbishment of urban and rural roads of the administration, all for a new beginning. With this initiative, Governor Everett Hawkins Green is committed to modernizing the road infrastructure of the Archipelago Department.
And by lighting tires and blocking roads, residents of Carrera Tresa continue with protests in this area. Gisela Livingston with more information.
Hello, Lisa and all the TV viewers, and well, we are here at the 13th Street, where the representative of the chamber, Jorge Mendez, gives some words about his opinion of this problematic here at the sector.
Como habitantes del sector somos testigos.
As residents of Carrera Tresa, we have witnessed this situation every year. We understand the legal issue that was recently unleashed after 4 years of the lawsuit process by the governor's office against the local administration, which was an absurd lawsuit known by all, and that until recently the administrative court gave its ruling, and this way has allowed the process of the construction of Section 1 of Carrera Tresa to be delivered, and we hope that soon Section 2 will be delivered. However, the call on the departmental government, especially the Secretary of Infrastructure, who promised this community to take provisional measures to resolve the issue of mobility in this sector, and unfortunately they have not complied with their promises.
On the other hand, the Vice President of the Laureles sector gives his opinion.
Tenemos dos enormes.
We have 2 huge mud holes that floods the place and no one can pass. More than 4 people have already fallen in the puddles. They generate mosquitoes. We have miners, and we ask the government to support us with the construction of the road, where we see how years have passed and we have the same problems.
Cada vez que llueve y cada vez que la empresa...
Every time it rains and when the company changes contractors, the Veolia company makes holes and leaves the streets in a bad condition, and the company does not require the contractors to leave the streets as they found them.
It should be noted that in previous days, the Secretary of Infrastructure indicated that most of the machinery is not in service due to spare parts and malfunctioning. On the other hand, he expressed that they are in bidding process to achieve the award of the work in the coming days. Okay, community, this is all the information for now from here. Gisela Livingston for Teleislas News.
Thank you, Gisela. And attention to the entire community that wants to learn to speak Creole. The departmental government will provide classes on the native language of the island.
The departmental government, through the Culture Secretariat and through the School of Artistic Training Sandino Manuel Ellis, EFASME, will conduct Creole classes with teacher Adele Christopher.
They invite all the community who want to learn something about Creole, Fita Creole, or write Creole. We invite you to inscribe on yourself right by the Tamarind Tree Cultural Center on the hill. And if you want to know the number of Fita, call 316-316 881-5846. Remember the number 316-881-5846. You are cordially invited.
Registration will be open until September 15, and classes will be held at First Baptist School from 7 to 9 p.m. on Tuesdays and Thursdays.
And health authorities issued a weekly report on COVID-19. This is how the virus behaved in the islands last week.
The current coronavirus situation in the country reports from September 2 to September 8 more than 6,300,000 people with positive cases, where the active cases are 3,632 for a total of 141,708 deaths. In the case of the islands, a total of 10,333 cases have been reported, with 156 total deaths, where to date no positive cases have been reported. It should be noted that the report on the progress of the coronavirus figures in the country can be found on the website of the National Institute of Health, where the report is broken down by department.
And now let's get to know other facts that are making news today in our brief news section.
The Secretariat of Health, through the Zoonosis program, will be conducting a vaccination campaign for dogs and cats in the barrack sector as a preventive measure against rabies disease, for which pet owners must carry vaccination cards and muzzle for animals. Pets under 3 months old, sick or pregnant, the vaccine will not be applied. The group of Carabineros of the National Police in the Company of Environmental Protection developed a planting activity on the island of Old Providence of 120 trees in order to restore the habitat of various species. The Secretariat of Health, through the Food Inspection, Surveillance and Control Program, conducted training for handlers, managers, and owners of stores with meat and edible meat products, reminding them of the importance of registration and sanitary authorization of the establishment before the Secretariat, in accordance with the current regulations, as well as socializing the necessary requirements that must be met at the time of inspection to keep the sanitary concept up to date in order to avoid the transmission of foodborne diseases and penalties.
And this is all for today. We see you tonight with more Teleislas news in our central broadcast. Good afternoon.